Hello learners, welcome to today's session. In this session, we will be discussing about soil pollution and land degradation. This topic pertains to the course MEV 015 of MSc Environmental Science program. Learners now understand what is soil pollution. We know that soil is an important resource, and we also know that because of various factors, the quality of the soil is compromised. Let us learn what is soil pollution, how does it occur, and what are the factors by which we can control the soil pollution. So if we define soil pollution, it means that the contamination of the soil because of the increasing concentration of toxic substances. Learners, we know that soil has a fixed character. It has a certain physical, chemical and biological properties. By virtue of these properties, the soil helps to grow plants, it provides nourishment, and it also helps to preserve the soil biodiversity. But when certain chemicals, either through natural processes or through man-made activities, when these chemicals or external elements, when they add to the composition of the soil, they degrade the quality, they hamper with the functioning of the soil, because we know that the soil structure and soil functions are some of the important attributes of this important resource. And we must also not forget that soil sustains life. So when we say that the soil is polluted, that means that because of certain factors, there are unwanted, harmful substances being added to the soil, because of which the normal functioning of the soil gets hampered and the properties of the soil get disturbed. They get disturbed to such an extent that it is not possible to renew that soil. It is not possible to have good quality crops over that soil. So how does it occur? Who is responsible? How the properties of the soil get changed? So to understand this, we must know that there are two main factors which affect the soil or cause soil pollution. They are the natural and the man-made or the anthropogenic factors. See, soil is a resource which is limited in the quantity because it takes 1,000 years to form 1 centimeter of soil. And learners, you must be knowing that how soil is formed. It is formed by the weathering of the rocks. When the rocks are weathered by physical, chemical and biological agents, the soil formation takes place, and it is the process which is known as pedogenesis. Now, during the course of the soil formation, there are certain natural systems acting on it. For example, there is a volcano eruption, or there may be air pollutants which are being there and they add to the surface of the soil. Or in many cases, because of the certain natural processes, for example, the dust storms are there or the hailstorms are there, or because of any weather changes or changes in the climatic conditions, because of heavy rains occurring, because of floods, because of fires. Now, these are some of the natural processes which take place. Learners, you must have read about these processes, and you must be knowing that every event which takes place affects the soil either directly or indirectly. And most importantly, why the concern is so much of today is because of the anthropogenic factors, because of the man-made factors. What are we doing to this soil? How are we changing the characteristics of this soil? And what factors are responsible as our activities which have led to deterioration in the soil quality? So if we just see it in brief, we may say that, for example, pollution is one of the major factor, agriculture is another major factor, desertification is occurring, the land use pattern is changing because of the waste disposal. We'll be studying about these causes one by one in detail, but here this is just an attempt to make you realize that there are the natural as well as the man-made factors which are responsible for degrading the soil or leading to soil pollution. So what are the causes? As we were just discussing that now, that soil, as I said, it is important for our survival. 95% of the food which we are eating comes from the soil, either directly or indirectly. Agriculture is not possible because in the absence of the soil. But today, there are certain factors. Number one, when you look at the screen, you will find industrial activities and chemical contamination. Industries release their waste into the land, which may be a barren piece of land, and these industrial activities or the industrial effluents, I must say, they contain the harmful toxic substances. There are heavy metals in it. There are poisonous substances in it. They are very, very dangerous when they are present in the soil, and they become altogether more dangerous when they enter into the food chain and lead to human body. Another factor is biodiversity loss. Soil is a good storehouse of soil microorganisms. There are microorganisms which enrich the quality of the soil. There are certain organisms which are present in the soil which help in renewing the fertility of the soil. And these are the assets of the soil. But what happens when these harmful chemicals, they are being dumped into the soil? What happens is that they are not able to survive. They lose their life because they cannot tolerate the high concentration of the toxicity of these chemicals which we are adding from outside. And in the absence of the soil biodiversity, the soil loses its natural capacity to renew itself. And a loss in the soil biodiversity affects the soil in the long run, because the soil is not able to renew itself, and the fertility of the soil is compromised to a large extent. And then there is an impact on agricultural productivity. As I said, agriculture is not possible without soil. Now what happens is that it is also, I must say that it is also an economic loss because of soil pollution which is occurring. Because in the objective to increase the fertility of the soil, and there is a trend of adding more and more of chemical fertilizers into the field. Now these fertilizers are rich in chemicals, and over a period of years, when there is a exposure of these chemicals into the soil, then the soil loses its fertility, and altogether it reduces the yield of the crops. There has been various instances where we have seen that because of the addition of too much of chemicals into the soil, and the agriculture is not so productive as it was before. So it also has an impact in terms of the economic impact. I would say that because of soil pollution, altogether also we are losing soil because of various other factors, and whatever the soil which has been left, that is also the quality is compromised. Another important factor is contamination of water sources. When we are adding harmful chemicals, fertilizers, pesticides into the soil, and because of the maybe because of the agricultural runoff, because of the heavy rains, because of the action of the winds, and there are cases where these contaminants enter into the water bodies. They pollute rivers. They lead to contamination of the groundwater also, because they percolate inside the groundwater and pollute it. So the fresh waters, whether it is the surface water or the groundwater, they get polluted because of the soil pollution. And it is also noticed that one of the important factor or cause of the water pollution is actually the soil pollution. Because when the soil is polluted and it enters the water stream through various agents, it leads to contamination of the water, and again there is a threat to the aquatic biodiversity also, because the fishes and the small organisms who are living in these water, they also cannot sustain high levels of toxic chemicals. Then another important factor is climate change. Now why I would say climate change is because of the changes in the land use patterns, because of the fact that there has been a change that more and more of forests have been cleared, and more of the land is now diverted for agriculture and allied activities, there is I must say that there is an increase in the greenhouse gases concentration, and which is leading to climate change in the long run. So why soil pollution? At one hand, it is, if we talk about the chemicals, it is first of all meant to improve the productivity of the soil. But in the long run, overuse of these chemicals coupled with changes in the land use practices has led to the situation like weather extremes and climate change in the long run. So here we notice that soil pollution has an impact on every aspect of the environment. We have seen that it affects the land, it affects the soil biodiversity, it affects the water bodies, and in the long run it is detrimental to the climatic conditions also. And when you look at the causes, you will find that human activities are more so responsible for these alterations in the soil properties. Now, what should be done? How we can control? Learners, you must be aware that 5th December every year we celebrate as the International Day of Soil. The day is meant to spread awareness regarding the conservation of the soil, to make sensitization about the importance of the soil. And soil is a resource which is very much important for our survival. Because of various factors, we have seen that it affects us, it affects our health. What happens when we eat the vegetables which are grown in the contaminated soil? When you see that the soil is rich in the chemicals, when the soil is polluted, and on that soil the crops, the vegetables, they are being grown, and when they enter into our bodies, it is very much obvious that there is a health risk. It poses risk to our health. And today we are seeing that there is an increased incidence of cancer, there is an increased incidence of so many type of diseases which are occurring, and it is a clear indication of the fact that our health is at risk because of the polluted soil. And as I say, most of our food comes from this soil, and if that soil is contaminated, there are quite a few chances that there are quite more chances that we fall sick, and there is an increase in the concentration of these chemicals into our body. And the route of exposure may be inhalation, ingestion, and many others. Then there is an impact on the biodiversity loss also. As I said, there is an impact on agriculture productivity, the water sources get contaminated, and climate change phenomena that is occurring. And most of the pollutants, what are these pollutants? If we generally classify these pollutants which are there in the soil, they are mostly the heavy metals like cadmium, arsenic, etc. These heavy metals are coming mostly from the industrial effluents which are being released into the soil, onto the barren lands, and also they are there in the soil because of the agricultural practices which have changed over a period of time. And another one is which we say is polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. Learners, one of the important factor for the soil pollution is the waste disposal. The heterogeneous waste, which contains various types of chemicals, it is also containing the biodegradable substances, but along with it, if you look outside, when you look at the waste disposal sites or the collection centers or the landfills, and there you will have an idea that how different chemical rich waste are being dumped onto the land, and in the long run it has a impact on the quality of the soil at that region. So these polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or the different chemicals, as I said, the heavy metals and the toxic substances, they are the main pollutants which are there in the soil. Now the fate of these pollutants, we very well know that it remains as such in the soil because there are no bacteria to act upon it. They are there in the ecosystems. They pass on from one trophic level to another. First they are in the soil, then they enter into the plant body. Slowly and slowly, they, with each trophic level, either it is accumulating, the process which we call as bioaccumulation, or their concentration increases in the higher order organisms, which is known as biomagnification. So by these processes, what we are seeing is that ultimately these chemicals are not lost, and through soil they are traveling to human bodies also, and therefore there is a so much of health risk happening to us. So how to control, as we were discussing, most importantly we have to look at the sector wise control, that how we have to look at the industrial related causes, or then we have to look at the agricultural related factors or the household related factors. So and the most importantly is the chemical arrangements that we can do, or chemical treatment of the soil. So there are lot many techniques which have come up now, like thermal remediation is done, bioremediation, phytoremediation. These are the different agents by virtue of which the toxic particular compound is removed from the soil. If you have your soil sample, and it can be done by the action of heat if it is thermal remediation, or by the presence of certain crops or certain other biotic organisms which we say. So by these plants and other things, these can be employed at a larger scale, where at a large scale we come to know by the chemical analysis of this soil that this soil is rich in fluoride, of this soil is rich in cadmium. Then we can take help of several treatment measures, and we can treat the soil. On a larger scale, it is important that agriculture, chemical rich agriculture, should be stopped, and more emphasis should be given on organic fertilizers, which are, which do not pose any risk to the soil, which do not have any chemicals into it. So application of biologically based fertilizers and the pesticides that can have a long-term impact on the quality of the soil, which is very important. So there is a need to relook the way we practice agriculture, the way we use fertilizers or pesticides, and how we can replace them with more eco-friendly options. And as I said, waste disposal is one of the main factor for the soil degradation, especially in the urban areas. So how we can make use of the type of the waste, so that we can have compost, or we can go for vermicomposting, or we can have some suitable other alternative for the waste disposal, which is very important. Otherwise, plastic, electronic items and all the municipal waste gets locked up together, which is very, very harmful for the soil. And learners, we must be aware that soil is, it takes thousands of years to form a soil, and we cannot lose it. It is very important resource. So another topic of today's discussion is land, because how we have seen that soil is struggling with the pollution related problems, but on the other hand, as a land, if we look at it, we know that it is a resource, and it altogether has different set of issues associated with the land. So land is an important resource which mostly gets unnoticed, but it is important for supporting various aspects of human life, like economic activities, agriculture, as we have seen, communication, transportation, recreation, waste disposal. So most of the economic activities occurs on the land, but today land is also suffering from the factors like land degradation. Now learners, you must have a clear understanding of the two terms like soil pollution and land degradation. What is the difference between them? There is a very thin line of difference between soil pollution and land degradation. When we say soil pollution, it is changes or alteration in the properties of the soil because of chemicals into it, because of harmful external elements into the soil, and which have entered the soil because of natural and more so by man-made factors. But land degradation is decrease in the quality of the land. Now this decrease in the quality of the land is because of the various biophysical environment. Because suppose if we go for road construction, or on a piece of land, if we go for concretization, then that is land degradation. It differs from the soil pollution. So if the land loses its value in terms of its ecological value or in terms of its economical value. So that actually means that it signals the case where the land is degraded. See, you take the simple example of agriculture, where agriculture is responsible for pollution also and for degradation also. How? Because when chemical fertilizers and pesticides are added into the field, it is a classic case of soil pollution of agricultural land, because the harmful chemicals are added into it. Now, how agriculture contributes to land degradation is that when, for example, plowing is done mostly by machines, or when improper methods of irrigation are used. And so over a period of time, and what kind of crops we are suppose growing, if there is a fault in the selection of the crops, suppose if we are growing a crop which is very water intensive in the region which have poor availability of the water, so it will lead to over extraction of the groundwater, and that over extraction of the groundwater in the long run will lead to land degradation. So here you can distinguish between what causes soil pollution and what causes land degradation. So now how land degradation occurs, then you must understand that land degradation is actually desertification, creation of the desert-like conditions. What is desertification? Is extension of desert-like ecosystems. For example, because of climate change, we have seen that there are regions where it used to rain a lot are not receiving sufficient quantity of the rain. So any place which receives insufficient amount of rain over a long period of time and which has got high temperatures, low humidity over a period of time, then it is like a creation of the desert-like conditions. This phenomena is known as desertification, and we know that in India there is extension of the Thar desert is occurring. It is coming to the nearby cities also, and it explains the phenomena of desertification. That means the increase in the area of the desert is increasing, or desert-like conditions are prevailing at more places than it were before. Soil erosion means carrying away of the topsoil of the any land or soil. So soil erosion is, obviously we know that the topmost layer of the soil is most productive, it is the topsoil, but because of maybe agriculture, because of climate change, because of deforestation, because of overgrazing, because of so many factors, when the topmost layer of the soil is removed, then it leads to soil erosion. Again, another factor which is important is, as I mentioned, deforestation, extensive cutting of the trees for urbanization, for industrialization, for planning of the cities, for construction activities, for road construction. All these factors ultimately lead to poor quality of the land or the land degradation. Overgrazing is important factor, agriculture, industries. So in one way or the other, all these contribute towards lowering the capacity of the soil to renew itself, and it also reduces the productivity of the land, because land productivity is seen not only in terms of the crop yields, which is generally the case in case of agriculture, where we measure the productivity of the land in terms of the amount of yields of crops that we have obtained. But another aspect of the land, as we have seen, that its utility is not just in terms of agriculture, but for industries, establishments, constructions, and other economic activities, the land is required. So if there is a decrease in that potential of the land, that is land degradation. So land degradation can take several forms. It can occur in several forms, like, the soil is eroded by wind, by water, or desert-like conditions, as I said. Then there may be a loss of soil fertility if we find soil acidity, alkalinity, deterioration of soil structure. These are the common examples, where we find that, for example, if there is over irrigation done, or over extraction of the groundwater if it is occurring. So these factors reduce the quality of the land over a long period of time. And we know that soil has a fixed structure, and it has a optimum amount of soil air, soil water, soil temperature, soil porosity, soil texture. These have their own importance. We classify the soils on the basis of the different textures of the soil, the distance between the soil particles, soil acidity and alkalinity, as it has been mentioned. Soil has a fixed pH, and these properties of the soil determine the type of the suitable crop in that region. They also determine the life of the soil in that region. But because of various factors, these all properties of the soil have been changed, and it takes the form of land degradation and soil pollution in the in various regions. So this is soil erosion, where we know that this is a process where topsoil is detached, which you have already seen, and it occurs by the action of water, wind, etc. And there are various factors responsible for soil erosion, like rainfall, when the soil is let loose because of poor holding capacity, in the absence of tree cover. The topography of certain region is there that it promotes soil erosion. The soil is not held properly. Similarly, vegetation, tillage, nature of the soil, soil moisture, wind speed. These are some of the factors which aggregate the soil erosion. And when the soil is eroded, it takes several years to return to its original state. So one of the important factors responsible for the soil erosion is decrease the tree cover or the deforestation. Similarly, desertification we have seen. So what is the need of the hour today is sustainable land management. We must make an attempt to see that what factors are responsible for soil pollution, how does soil pollution occur, what are the factors by which we can reduce or minimize the soil pollution, and how land quality gets affected by natural as well as man-made factors. So when there is a flood taking place, or when there is a landslide or an earthquake occurring, all these affect the quality of the land, where we know that it is important for agriculture and the elite sector, but also for other economic activities also. So in a nutshell, we can conclude that land is an important resource which needs to be conserved. Without land, there is no agriculture, no construction, no industries. All these type of activities cannot be done, and we are not able to manage the land resources. And learners, you must also understand that land and soil are directly related to sustainable development goals, whether it is removing poverty or maintaining communities at land or health or well-being. Everything is directly or indirectly affected by the land. So we must go for sustainable land management through appropriate policies, programs and interventions, and education and awareness is very, very important in this regard. So there is a need for information, involvement, empowerment and facilitation for improving coordination for proper land management and improving the quality of the soil. Thank you.
Do you know that the world's population has reached 8 billion on 15th November 2022? And we are still counting. I don't know where do we go from here. The predictions are scary. Any idea how many people can Mother Earth sustain? India's growing population is a serious concern, and we are soon going to become the world's most populous country. Wow, number one. Population is, after all, a human issue. The UN proposed Sustainable Development Goals cannot be achieved unless and until we consider the population dynamics. So, here we are. Indira Gandhi National Open University offers appreciation course on population and sustainable development. The course explores the linkages between population and sustainable development. In this course, there are diverse issues related to population, environmental safety, livelihoods, human health, migration, urbanization, and much more. The course duration is 3 months, but of course, you can complete it within a year. The eligibility of the course is graduation from a recognized university. So, if you are a development professional, working in a government sector, researcher, or keen to know more about the population and sustainable development, the course is must for you. Hurry up and join this course so that we are able to convert population into demographic dividend and not convert it into demographic disaster. For more information, visit www.ignou.ac.in. Thank you.
Welcome viewers. Today we are going to discuss an important topic of our program, that is postgraduate certificate in inventory planning and warehousing system. In short, it is PGCIPWS. In that we have 3 courses, theory courses and 1 project, out of which the first course is Introduction to Inventory Planning and Control. Under this course, in our earlier session, we have discussed about the inventory. What is inventory management? What are the responsibility of a person who is managing the inventory? What are the benefits of effective inventory management? What are the signs of bad inventory management? And what are the scope of inventory management? In today's session, we are focusing on economic order quantity. As you may be aware that in inventory management there are 2 important questions: how much and when. When means when you are going to order or replenishment, because after every cycle the inventory is consumed, so you need to replenish that items by ordering. So the question is when to order, because you can order every day, you can order after 7 days, or what is the logic behind it? And the second question is how much. If one is very wealthy, he can give a order in a large quantity, but the again question is what is the logical quantity, what is the reasonable quantity. that we are going to discuss in today's sessions. Though we have discussed these aspects in my earlier sessions also, but we will be more focused towards the numerical, then what are the limitations or what are the advantage of economic order quantity. So let us first see what we are going to learn in today's session. First, just for repetition, we will focus on the inventory. What is inventory? How inventory is defined. This particular point has been kept in order to refresh yourself. Then second is purpose of inventory control. Why we go for inventory control. Third point is, which we are going to discuss, inventory cost. Because if we are focusing on economic order quantity, we must know what are the various inventory costs associated with. Then fourth one is economic order quantity. Yes, we will discuss that how it is derived, what is the logic behind it, and with the help of one example, we will try to calculate or compute or determine the economic order quantity. And 2 or 3 terms more associated with economic order quantity, just like lead time, reorder point, or number of cycle after which you will give the order. So that we will discuss. Now, as I told you that in all sessions, I will first try to brief you about the inventory so that whenever you are going to study my more slides, you will be aware about the basic concept of inventory. Inventory is the name given to products and materials that a company holds either to produce or manufacture certain items or to sell. In very simple example, if I take, it is basically a quantity of items. Suppose you are a car manufacturer. You will need tires, you will need glass, you will need steerings and very other items, different components, and that you need these items at certain steps or certain process. So that you have to keep it because you can't order at that time when it is required. You need all these items on hand much before the manufacturing or the production of these components start. I think that you are very much clear about the definition of the inventory. Now, what are the different types of inventory? These are the different types of the inventory. The first one is finished products that are ready-made or ready or the final product. In case of any television, the particular product which is ready, if we just switch on, the TV is ready to catch the signal through dish antenna or whatever this thing, and it is ready to telecast. This is a one type of inventory. Second type of inventory is work in progress or work in process. As the name indicate, it is not a complete, it is a semi-finished, but it is very significant for any manufacturing company or fast moving consumer goods FMCG company, because there are several workstations where certain processing take place. For example, we are manufacturing a scooter or bike where you have at least 10 or 15 workstation. Each workstation has to do certain process. Suppose we start with A, it reaches to B, and then it goes to C. Now, let us take a simple example. Suppose the workstation B is not working. A is producing, but B is not on operational, and C is waiting. And also D, E, F all will start waiting because B is not operational. So what we do, we make the inventory of items, semi-finished items after the processing of B, and that we keep in a buffer stock so that in case there is a breakdown at workstation B, the further operation at C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J will not stop. Every time what will happen, we will use that stock, which is a inventory of work in process or work in progress inventory of workstation B. Similarly, we keep the work in progress or work in process inventory for C, D, E, F and so on. This is called the work in process or your work in progress inventory. Third type of inventory is, you can say, raw material, or the which is a very raw. Just like for a car manufacturing, we need the fabrication sheets, steel sheet metals. In case of various others, we need, just like for drawing the sheets, we need the raw materials or ingots in the form of steel or the raw material. Then it will goes to the furnace, and we have the rolling mill, and where we get the rolling sheets. Fourth type of inventory is a very significant. This is called MRO in materials, that is maintenance, repair and operational. Whenever you are working or anybody is working on a machine, certain items are required for the regular maintenance, certain items are required for repair, certain items are required for the daily operation of that particular machine. For example, coolant, lubricant or various types of your nut and bolts, your spanner, your screwdriver or hammer, all these comes under the operational inventory that we keep it. So these are the four types of basic inventories. Now, what is the purpose of inventory? Why we keep? I will give you a simple example of your house. Now, you have a kitchen and you need food at least 2 times, food 2 times tea and snacks. For that, you need not to go every time to the market and bring vegetable and flour and then you prepare the food. You keep the inventory at your house. So that is the first, because you want to maximize the efficiency in the production as well as distribution. The same thing is true when you come to any industry or the manufacturing company. First important purpose is you want to reduce the inactive, waste, surplus, scrap or obsolete item at the minimum level. Now what is that? If you keep a huge amount of inventory which is not required, or if you are generating a large amount of scrap, what will happen? Slowly and slowly, your passage of movement inside the factory will be reduced, will be, you can say, troublesome. You can't walk freely, or your machines or your AVG, automated vehicle guide, that will not be operated freely. So what will happen? There will be delay in material handling and there will be complexity in material handling. So you need a proper inventory management so that you do not have the waste, you do not have the excess or inactive material. Another point or another purpose of the keeping the inventory, because you want to minimize the holding cost as well as your ordering cost or the replacement cost or the shortage cost, because these are the costs that we will define in my next slide, but you want to minimize or you want to optimize it. And second is thing, if you are keeping a better control on inventory, you will improve or you will maximize the production efficiency as well as the distribution inventory. Now let us come to the different types of the cost. The first cost at the top of your slide is your item cost. That is the simple that cost when you give the money to your vendor or seller for getting that item into the plant or in your house. Second type of cost is your holding cost. This is basically in a percentage. That means you want to keep that particular item in your store. So it is a percentage of unit value. Suppose an item is of 1 lakh rupees. So the percentage of keeping or storing it will be more. If you are keeping as a 10%, so at least 10,000 will be the holding cost, because you need certain types of manpower, certain type of storage, insurance, if it is a AC is required. So all these costs will come. Then third is your ordering cost, because each time when you procure that particular item, you need to procure the order, you need to make the some type of a invoice that involve the office, that involves the workers, that involves a clerk or a person who will simply write, or even a data entry operator. So you have a fixed amount and that in rupees that is incurred each time when your order is placed, because there is a need of electricity bill, there is a need of water, and then an office space. Then the fourth cost is your shortage cost. If suppose you are not able to produce an item which is demanded by the customer, that is the shortage loss. What will happen? Customer will very rarely comes again. If he once bounce back or if he or she return, so what will happen? There will be loss of a goodwill. There will be loss of your benefit or your whatever you earn, that is gone forever. So that is called the shortage cost. Now, what are the different types of other inventories? We have heard about the work in process inventory, finished inventory, raw material inventory, MRO inventory. Now, another type is your just like anticipation inventory. Sometimes the manufacturer or the vendor keeps the inventory in anticipation that in future there will be a shortage of these items or there will be increase or hike in the price of that inventory. So much, or another example you take, just like if you have a Diwali season or winter season or a summer season. In summer you require refrigerator, air conditioning. In winter you need the blower or geyser. So you have in mind that in winter or in coming winter, starting from September, October, the demand for blower and geyser will increase. So for keeping that in anticipation, you keep the inventory for these items in your stock. Second is your safety stock. What happens in the market? There is a demand fluctuation. Sometimes customer demands, sometimes customer do not demand. If you take the seasonal, you just see that the demand increases for AC in March and April and drastically reduce in the month of July, August and September. So, but you do not know when the demand increases. So what will happen? You need a safety stock because you don't want the stock out condition. Third is your cycle stock or the lot size stock, because you always want the economy of scale, that is the quantity discount, because certain companies offer that if you buy above this number you will be given a discount. Fourth one is your pipeline inventory or transportation inventory or transit inventory. That suppose your vendor is at city A, it starts from A and reaches to B. In between, since it has been transported, it has been dispatched by your vendor, it will be counted as an inventory for you. So it is called as a pipeline. Similarly, speculative or hedge inventory, because you don't know when the labor strike will take place or you do not know what type of mishappening is going to be happen. Yes, COVID is one of the example, or pandemic, any type of pandemic is an example of this type of a event. So some certain natural disaster cannot be speculated, but certain can be speculated, and for that you need a inventory that is called the speculative inventory. Then maintenance, repair and operation, as I told you, MRO, that is very essential, and for the different purposes it is required. Now when we talk about the economic order quantity, there are certain points which are required, just like reorder point. It is the point when the quantity on hands of an item drops to this amount and the item is reordered for the replenishment. Second is your safety stock, because even with the maximum quantity, you keep certain quantity of stock so that if there is a change or there is a variability in the demand, you will be able to satisfy your customer. Third term is your service level, that we define along with the lead time, because in certain products we want to maintain a certain service level, just like your milk or even your e-com companies. They don't want to let the customer leave them, so they want 95% service level, sometimes 98% service level. So for that you need a particular percentage of service level, that is called the service level. Now comes to the main term, that is economic order quantity. It is basically an ideal quantity of units that a company should purchase to meet the demand while minimizing the inventory cost, just like holding cost, shortage cost, or the ordering cost. So basically it is a type of a purchasing also, and it is also type of a manufacturing also. Now, what are the various assumptions for the economic order quantity? There are several assumptions, because once you develop a formula or you derive a formula, you need to assume certain items. So if I say, first assumption is no quantity discounts are available. Ordering costs are constant. There is no shortage cost. Order quantity arrives in a single shipment. So first one is no quantity discount, because as I told you, there are certain stages that if suppose somebody is purchasing 500, no discount, 1000, 1%. So these are not available for the basic EOQ formula. Now this is the basically derivation. At economic order quantity, we keep the ordering cost as equal to the holding cost. On your left side, it is a holding cost. Q by 2 is the average cost. D by Q is the number, and S is the number of items ordered. So if you just see the graph, green light is your holding, red light is your carrying. Wherever it intersect, this will be the economic order quantity. So in this examples, economic order quantity, we have certain limitations. Economic order quantity may not allow ordering the exact quantities as per calculation. Suppose you got from the calculation 24.5. So either you will go for 24 or you will go for the 25. Even due to practical situation of transportation, you need to modify the economic order quantity. Suppose you received 100 quantity, but from the transportation point of view, from the easiness or for the cost effectiveness, you want 300. So 100 we have calculated, but for transportation easiness, we order for 300. Then we also see the simplification of routine. At times it is very difficult. Simplification of routine or route is very difficult. Now just take the example of the perishable item. When you are ordering for the perishable item, sometimes you need to focus or consider on the life cycle or the shelf life of that particular item. So it is better to order less than the theoretical quantity. Suppose you are getting 5,000, but if you purchase 5,000 quantity, it will be perished very soon. So that is the thing. So in today's session, what we have done, we have first given introduction to inventory, types of inventory, what are the different costs involved in the inventory control, why inventory control is required. Then we have also given you the formula and what is the economic order quantity point that we have defined where the ordering cost is equal to the holding cost. And finally we have also touched that what are the limitations, because as an engineer you must know, as a manager you must know what are the limitations of the economic order quantity. I trust that this small session must be useful to you in your learning. Thank you very much.
Are you interested in television journalism or radio journalism or online journalism? Or do you want to learn with the flexibility of open learning? Or if you are a working professional, wants to enhance your knowledge and skill with certification in the field of electronic media, then School of Journalism and New Media Study IGNOU offers PG Diploma in Electronic Media for you. This program includes audio and audio-visual program production for radio, television and online platforms. Here are some important details about the program. We have total 8 courses of 32 credits, 6 theory courses, 1 practical and 1 project. Eligibility: bachelor's degree in any subject. Minimum duration 1 year, maximum 3 years. Medium is English, but students can write their examinations, assignments, practical and project in Hindi also. So if you are interested in television, radio or online media, please come and join IGNOU's PG Diploma in Electronic Media.
Dear learner, welcome you all in the session of Immunology. Course code is BZYET141. Basically, it is the elective courses for BSc General Program. Dear learners, my name is Dr. Siaram. I am an Associate Professor, Discipline of Life Science, School of Sciences, IGNOU. Today I want to discuss very important topic that is known as immune system in health and disease. Second, it is a very important topic. You will learn number of the things related to the tumor immunology. What is the learning outcome of today's session? After finishing of this session, you will be able to explain the fundamentals of the tumor immunology, the origin, different stage and type of the cancers. After finishing of this session, you will be able to explain the role of the cancer gene in causing cancer and antigen present on the cancer cells. You will be able to discuss how tumor cell escape the immune recognitions. Dear learner, after finishing of this session, you will be able to describe the different immunological approaches for cancer treatment. It means the cancer immunotherapy. We will discuss in detail. And after finishing of this session, you will be able to explain the role of the nutrient, probiotic, prebiotics and gut-associated lymphoid tissues in the immunity. So these are the expected learning outcome of today's session. Dear learner, my session is divided into two parts, part first and part second. In part first, we will discuss the tumor immunology and type of the tumors. There are the various type of the tumors like benign tumors, malignant tumors, a number of the genes which are involved in the progression of the cancer or tumors like oncogenes, like tumor suppressive genes and apoptotic genes. While in part second we will discuss the tumor antigens. It is divided into the tumor associated antigens, tumor activated antigens, and we will discuss the various immunological therapy of the tumors. And finally, we will discuss the nutrient and immunity. How can improve the immunity of our body? The various nutrients we will take it, or ultimately they will improve the immunity inside to the body. It is part first. I want to discuss one by one various things. Tumor immunology. The generation of the new cells in a tissue is tightly controlled so that the cell number remain constant. It means your cells, they are tightly regulated. Each and everything is tightly, each reaction, biological reaction inside to the bodies is tightly regulated by our immune system. They can control it, it remains, cell number is remain constant. A cell can become abnormal and divide uncontrollable due to the variety of the factors such as the chemical exposure, viral infections and mutation. So these are the various things which are involved into the cancer cells, like chemical exposure, viral infection and mutations, and they are involved for making of the cancer. Cancer basically they can divide uncontrollable and due to the variety of the factors. In the uncontrollable proliferation of an abnormal cell to the formation of the clone that is known as the tumor or neoplasm. So you can see in this figure, it is a normal cell, it is a nucleus. These are the normal cell surface antigens which are present onto the normal cells. You can see into the blue colors, the normal cell, they will grow, they produce the number of the T cell, B cells, and ultimately they can regulate it. And another is the cancer associated antigens. You can see into the red colors. And these are the surface antigens which are present onto the cancer cells. In our immune system, they are able to recognize the cancer specific receptors are there and tumors are there. So you can see it here is the red color, it is a cancer associated antigen. Blue color, it is a normal surface antigens which are present on the surface of our various cells. Tumor cells are recognized differently by to the immune systems, and because they have the abnormal surface antigen and cause the immune response, and immune response will be developed. And the immune system may be able to destroy these tumor cells by the immunological attack by the immune cells such as to the NK cells. And then NK cell, you can see in this the NK cells, they are able to recognize the tumor cell. Ultimately, they will kill the tumor cells, and tumor cells can sometimes evade immune response mechanism and resulting in potentially fatal condition known as the cancers. So these are the related to the tumor immunology. In type of tumors, these are the various type of the tumors, and cell are cancerous and want to spread it. You can see it red color. It is a cancerous cells are there, but blue color it is a non-cancerous cells. And type of the tumor divided into two type. First is the benign tumors and another is the malignant tumors. Benign tumors, it is a primary stage of the tumors. When you start the tumors and your cancer cell, it divided it, or it can form the tumor-like structure inside to the body. So you can say it is a primary stage of the tumors. And the abnormal clone of to the cell may remain as the clustered at to the site of the origins. In the site of origin, they are able to form the clusters. Cluster-like structures are there. You can say it is a primary stage of the tumors. These benign tumor grow larger but do not spread to the other tissues. You can see it, they are not able to spread into the other tissues, that is known as the benign tumors. It is often a mild form of the disease. And this stage is not life-threatening, but it grow larger and cause the pressure onto the adjacent tissues and lead to the serious damages. So these are the type of the tumors. One is the benign tumor, another is the malignant tumors. Type of benign tumors, these are the various name of the benign tumors. One is the adenoma. Epithelial tissues are gland-like structure. Example, liver adenoma, colon adenoma, pituitary and thyroid adenoma. Another is the fibroma. Fibroids, it will form in the particular tissues. And fibrous are connective tissues of the various organ, example, uterine of fibroids. And hemangiomas, and abnormal growth of the blood vessels of the skins are to the internal organs appear onto the chest, scalp and faces. And lipoma, and tumor made up of the fat tissues appear onto the neck, shoulder and back of our arm. So these are the various type of the benign tumors are there. Another is the meningioma, membrane surrounding brain or spinal cords. So their names you can say that is the meningioma. And another is myoma, muscles tumors affected the cervix of the lower part of the uterus. And leiomyoma, tumor up to the smooth muscles found into the organs such as to the stomach or to the uterus. Neuroma, tumors of the nerves present anywhere into the body, that is known as the neuroma. Lymphoma, lymph node tumors. And osteoma, and tumor of the bones. So these are the various type of the tumors. Basically it is a benign tumors. Their name is given like myoma, leiomyoma, neuroma and osteoma. Basically these are the affected tissues are the organs. Another is the malignant tumors. So you can see they want to spread to the other tissues, and cells are concerned and can spread to the other tissues and organs. In this case, the tumor cells separate from to the main tumor mass, and it can spread to any part of to the body by to the blood or lymph. And metastasis refer to the spread of the cancerous tissues or to the new locations. So it is another form of to the malignant. You can say it is a last stage of the tumors are there. Basically, the several cells, they will spread inside to the body, or they can recognize to the other cell, it will spread or they will grow inside to the body. So it is a very dangerous stage of the tumors. Another thing I want to discuss the origin and stage of the cancers. So these are the various stage of the cancer. Majority of cancer are caused by to the mutations in a specific gene involved into the cell division. I think you know very well the cell division, it is controlled by to the various specific genes. So in particular gene mutation occurs or they can cause the cancers. And second, the mutation of the cancerous, secondary mutation of the cancerous cell mass may result from to the uncontrolled proliferation of the cells. And it is result of to the multiple round of to the mutation into the failure of the cell divisions checkpoint. The various checkpoints are there inside to the cell divisions. In particular cell divisions, it need to tightly control, but due to the some problems, it will fail and they can cause the cancers. And this stage of the cancer is known as the benign tumor and it can be removed surgically. You can see in this figure, it is a initially modified tumor cells. You can see one particular cells, it is a tumor cells, and localized benign tumor cells. They will start to grow. It is a promotion of the cancer cells, invasive tumor cells, and last stage of the cancer or tumor cells are metastasis tumor cells, invade vessels and spread it very fast. Another thing I want to discuss the oncogenes. Basically, it is related to the gene which are involved for proliferation of the cancer. The various genes which are associated with to the cancer can be classified into three major categories. And first is oncogenes, genes which are involved into the growth and proliferation of the cancerous cells. Another is tumor suppressor genes. It is another very important genes that limit or inhibit to the growth and proliferations. They work opposite to the oncogenes. And third one is the apoptosis gene, gene that control the programmed cell death of the cells. So I want to discuss one by one. First one is the proto-oncogenes. It undergo mutation either due to the intrinsic or extrinsic factors, and their normal functioning is disruptions and cell growth is regulated. Oncogene protein, basically it is a growth factor. For example, of epidermal growth factors, it is a very important factors which are very important for proliferation of the cells. And another is growth factor receptor. Example, ERV B receptors. Any alteration in the expression of these protein would lead to the uncontrolled cell proliferation. If any alteration in particular gene like epidermal growth factor genes and growth factor receptor genes, they can cause the cancer, and cell proliferation will take place and uncontrolled growth of the particular cell will take place. It is due to the action of the DNA interacting chemical known as the carcinogen of the certain type of the radiations are there. The proto-oncogene that induce the cellular proliferations, and cellular proliferation will take place and normal growth of the cell will not take place. It is uncontrollable growth of the particular cells are there. You can say it is a cellular proliferation of the particular cells. DNA damage agent which interact with the proto-oncogenes are converted into cancer-inducing oncogenes. So here is the proto-oncogenes. It is nature of the gene product. The first one is the growth factors, cis gene, a form of the platelets drive growth factors. It is a very important factors inside to the body. If any mutation in this particular genes, it can cause the cell proliferations, or ultimately cancer will cause. And another is the growth factor receptor. And FMS, it is a very important gene. ERB gene, new gene, and ERVA. So these are the various growth factor receptor which are very, very important for to the particular cell, and then proliferations will take place. And receptor up to the colony stimulating factor 1, CSF1, and ERVV, and receptor for epidermal growth factors, and new and protein, HER2 related to the EGF receptors, and ERBA, a receptor for thyroid hormones. So these are the various growth factor receptors are there. They can control the cell proliferation, cell differentiation of the immune systems. Another is the signal transduction genes. Various signal transduction genes are there. If any mutation in particular gene, they can cause the cancers. They can cause the tumor. Tumor proliferation will take place if any mutation in particular genes are there. In SRC, ABL, HRAS, NRAS, KRAS, these are the particular genes are there which involve in the signal transduction. Signal transduction is a very important process of the particular cells are there. SRC, the proteins, tyrosine kinase, tyrosine protein kinase, ABL, and HARAS, GTP binding protein with GTPase activities, KRAS, GTP binding protein with GTPase activities. These are the very important function of the particular cell. They can communicate with each others. And fourth one is the transcription factors. JUN, FOS, MYC. MYC is the DNA binding proteins. It is a very important proteins are there. Then your cell will control it. Proliferation will not take place. If any mutation in particular gene, they can cause the cancer. JUN, component of the transcription factor AP1, component of the transcription factor AP1. So these are the various genes which are involved in the cancer. If any mutations, any problems in their DNA, they can cause the cancer. Another very important concept are there. Here is the BCR-ABL fusions. So you can see it. Here is the normal chromosomes. Here is the normal chromosomes. Chromosome number 9 in humans and chromosome number 22. It is also available in the humans. Here is the chromosome break. Chromosome break are there in 9 and 22. You can see the structure, or ultimately the change chromosome will occur. That is known as the Philadelphia chromosomes. Here is the BCR-ABL fusion proteins it will generate and capable of the transforming cell into malignant tissues. So you can see, you can say it is a Philadelphia chromosomes, and it is a change chromosome. The chromosomes are there. Here is change. So they are products which are involved in making of the cancer, basically in case of the blood cancer. And another thing I want to discuss, P53 tumor suppressor genes. So these are the function of the P53. Here is the nutrient deficiency, hypoxia, DNA damage, oncogenic signaling, oxidative stress. They are involved with. Their role is very important. They can suppress the particular mutations and particular genes are there. It encodes to the phosphoprotein that has mutation role into the growth, arrest, DNA repair and apoptosis. So you can see it here is the cell cycle arrested, autophagy and ferroprotein, apoptosis, necrosis, and here is the necroptosis. So these are the their role is very important. If any defect in this the particular process are there, it involves in the suppress, basically their role is very important. They can suppress the mutated genes or function of the particular genes are there. If mutation in they are not able to maintain it, they can cause the cancer. So you can say it is a P53 is a tumor suppressor genes. And third one is the apoptosis genes. You can see it here is the non-homologous DNA end joining factors are there. Another is the HR repair defects, and DNA double standard DNA breaks. So these are the various cases are there. So in this case, the gene defect will take place. Here is the telomere uncapping will be there, and P53 deficiency. If P53 deficiency are there, survival and genomic instability will be there. Ultimately, they can cause the cancer. If P53 will work very well, it go to the apoptosis. There is no harm inside to the body. If P53 deficiency are there, they can cause the cancer inside to the body. So there are the various apoptotic genes which are involved. Ultimately, they can cause the cancers. If any defect into the apoptotic genes, they can cause the cancer. The various apoptotic genes which are involved for making of the apoptotic process inside to the body, if any defect into the apoptotic genes, they can cause the cancer. And here is the cancer. You can see here is the cancer cells are there. It is a if various gene like BCR, like ABL, and various genes are there, they can cause the cancer. If any problem, KRAS, number of the genes I have already discussed it, which are involved for damaging of the cells. If any problems are there, the P53 role is very important, and they can stop the change into normal cell into the cancer cells. So it means any mutations, the number of the apoptotic genes are there, the various genes are there like BCR gene, ABL genes, and KRAS genes, cis genes, various genes which are involved into the apoptosis of the particular cells. If any mutations, any problems in the particular gene, it will change into the cancer cells. So there here is it is due to the double standard DNA break and the telomere uncapping. It is a process, the telomere, chromosome telomere, their uncapping will not take place, and double standard DNA break, it may be possible in inside to the cells, inside to the DNA are there. It can cause the but P53, which are very important genes which are involved into the repair mechanism, they can repair it, or ultimately the apoptosis of the particular damaged cells are there, are telomere uncapping containing cells are there. They can cause the they can repair it with to the P53, or ultimately apoptosis will take place. A number of the genes which are involved into the apoptosis, or they can change into the apoptosis of the particular cells are there, damaged cells are there. If they are not able to do this, and the cancer proliferation will take place. Ultimately, they can cause the cancers. Dear learner, I want to summarize part first. You have learned number of the things in my part session first. In cancer occur when the abnormal cell divide uncontrollable, create a tumor or neoplasm. Neoplasm, it is another name of the tumors. And your general cell, your normal cells can change into the abnormal cell. They are able to divide uncontrollable and create a tumor cells or neoplasm. You can say another name of the tumor cell is known as the neoplasm. tumor progression through the two stages. One is the benign, second is the malignant. I have already discussed it, what is the benign tumor, and another is the malignant tumor. In the benign stage, the tumor limit to their origin, while the malignant stage they spread through the blood vessels and making them difficult to treat. If benign tumors change into the malignant tumors, it is very difficult to treat this type of the tumor or this type of the cancer cells. You have also learned the most cancerous are caused by the mutation in the gene involved into the cell division controls. Basically, proto-oncogene, it can convert into the oncogenes due to the mutations, or they are involved into the particular gene which are involved into the cell division control. Their checkpoint, it is missing, and their regulation, proper regulation will not take place. And oncogenes are responsible for to the tumor origin and growth. And tumor suppressor gene limits cell growth, while the apoptosis gene control programs cell death. Dear learner, I want to take a short break. Don't go away. We will come back within 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Do you wish to be part of a television studio like this, or any other media system? Or already part of any media system, want to enhance a new set of skills? Welcome to School of Journalism and New Media Studies. Here in the School of Journalism and New Media Studies, we are offering program for all set of people to learn and enhance their media skills. The vision of School of Journalism and New Media Studies is to generate a new set of professionals in the area of media and communication studies with understanding about role of media in the national development and global understanding. We offer innovative programs in the field of journalism and mass communication that sets the benchmark of high quality learning and teaching process at the national level. We offer these programs across the country with the help of our regional network as well as study center. Same manner, many of our programs are offered through online mode with a sophisticated learning management system. SOGNMS offers programs from PhD in journalism and mass communication till certificate level. We have masters in journalism and mass communication. The eligibility is a bachelor's degree, and we are introducing this program in 3 languages: Hindi, Tamil and English. Students from national and international students can join either through online mode as well as in the distance mode. We have 4 postgraduate diploma programs, specialized areas in the field of development communication, digital media, electronic media, and journalism and mass communication program. And all these 4 programs are available in distance mode. 2 programs are available in online mode, development communication and digital media. And we have specialized certificate program in community radio. IGNOU employs various media and communication tools for better teaching and learning process. School of Journalism and New Media Studies utilizes this media system for delivering all our programs. Come and join with us for exploring a new career and enhance your media skills.
Dear learners, welcome you all in the second sessions. Dear learners, in this session we will discuss about the antigen, tumor antigens. The mostly tumor cells display the immunological tolerance as normal cells and inhibit to the development of autoimmune response. So here is the normal cell, you can see it. Here is the various antigen which are expressed on the cell surface. The self antigen expressed into the healthy tissues. So basically it is a healthy tissues. The self antigen they will express on the surface of the, or ultimately it will regulate or tightly control inside to the body. It is a very important for your tissues, for your body cells. The mostly tumor cell display the immunological tolerance as normal cell and inhibit to the development of the autoimmune response. However, tumor cell may produce the unique or inappropriately expressed proteins which may be recognized by to the immune systems. But in case of the tumor cells, and they will express the inappropriately proteins, express proteins which may be recognized by to the immune system. Our immune system, they will recognize the particular antigens which are present onto the cell surface. The protein or to the tumor cells that trigger immune response are called the tumor antigens. So basically it is a self antigens, and another is the tumor antigens which are present onto the cell surface. Tumor antigens classified into 4 different categories. You can understand one by one. First one is the expressed from to the normal genes of to the tumor cells. And you can see it here is the express the normal cell gene of to the tumor cells. The various tumor cells are there, they will express it. Tumor cells, they will express from to the normal gene of to the tumor cell. The various normal gene express onto the surface of to the tumor cell. Express from variant or mutant from to the gene of the tumor cells. The express from variant or to the mutant from to the gene of to the, so you can see it here is the various variants are there. So in particular genes it get mutated. So they will express onto the surface. Basically it is a mutated antigens are there. Antigen express at to the specific stage of the tumor development. The various stage are there of your cell development. It is the particular antigens which are expressed at the specific stage of the tumor cell development. And antigen overexpress into the particular type of to the tumor. So there are the 4 different type of the tumor antigens are there. We can classify it into the 4 group. First one expressed from to the normal gene of the tumor cells. Just like normal cells, they can produce the tumor cell. Expressed from variant or the mutant form. So basically it is a nucleus inside to the DNA, inside to the nucleus DNA are present, they get mutated. The express from variant or to the mutated gene of to the tumor cells. And third one is the antigen expressed at to the specific stage up to the tumor cell, and overexpression of to the normal protein in the tumor cells. These 4 type of the antigen can be further classified into 2 categories. First one is the tumor specific antigen, that is known as the TSA, tumor specific antigens, and tumor associated antigens. The type first and second belong to the category first, and type 3 and type 4 category belong to the B. So I have already discussed it. It is divided into the 4. Type first and type second belong to the category first, and type 3 and type 4 belong to the category B. The many therapeutic and clinical diagnostic procedure use these antigen either by to the tumor detection or treatment. The various things are there. The tumor specific antigens we can detect with the help of the like ELISA, RIA. Number of the techniques are there. The certain monoclonal antibodies are there. You can recognize it. You can diagnose the particular which antigens. It may be tumor specific antigen or it may be tumor-associated antigen, we can recognize it, we can diagnose this particular cell or tumor or not, cancer or not. I want to discuss one by one what is the tumor-specific antigen or tumor-associated antigen. Tumor-associated antigen, it is a neoantigen, oncoviral antigen, and tumor-specific endogenous retroviruses. So it come under to the tumor-specific antigens are there. So basically they can express, these are the tumor-specific antigen, and they can express inside to the body or it will present onto the surface of to the particular cell. Tumor-specific antigen they will express. It help to treat the tumor into the specific manner with to the little damage or surrounding tissues. And these antigenic protein result from to the DNA mutation which help into the immune system to distinguish cell from to the non-cell. And tumor specific antigen are processed into the cytosol and present as to the noble peptides with MHC class first molecule onto the tumor cells. I have already discussed it, this mechanism which are very important. Ultimately tumor cell they will recognize by to the the cells or they will destroy it very well. And these tumor-specific antigen induce cell-mediated immunity response by to the tumor-specific CD8 positive cytotoxic T cells. And these CD8 cells are critical subpopulation of MSC first restricted T cell and are to the mediator of the adaptive immunities. These include to the cytotoxic T cell which are important for killing cancerous and viral infected cells. And thus we can say the TSA represent themselves as to the foreign or new peptide and become natural target for to the immune recognition. So we can utilize as a natural target for to the treatment of to the particular disease. We can utilize it or we can treat to the cancer cells with the help of to the tumor specific antigens. Another is the tumor associated antigens. You can see it here is the different color, blue color, green color. Basically it is a tumor associated antigens. And tumor associated antigen not a characteristic of protein of the neoplastics cells. It is most normal cell protein, so they tolerate autoimmune reactions. So autoimmune reaction will not take place, they will tolerate very easily against to the tumor associated antigen. Type 3 and 4 belong to these categories and are expressed only during the specific development stage such as to the embryonic stage and puberty extra. The protein produced from the gene up to the embryonic stage which are reactivated into the tumor cell are called oncofetal tumor antigens. It is very important name of the particular tumors associated antigen, that is known as the oncofetal tumor antigens. The oncofetal tumors are two types. First one is the alpha fetoprotein AFP. It is a well-known, well-characterized proteins are there. Another is the carcinoembryonic antigen CEA, and we can utilize to diagnose the cancer cells or not. The particular cancer, the cells it turn into cancer or not. The alpha fetoproteins. So basically it is a fetus are there. You can here is the neural tubes defects. If neural tube defects are there, we can collect to the amniotic fluids and we can see the label up to the alpha fetoprotein. Alpha AFP proteins is abundant into the fetus around to the 100 microgram per ml but decrease with to the age, whereas the average adult has 6 microgram per ml. So you can see the reduced level of to the AFP in case of adult or in case of the fetus. In the fetus it would be very, very high, but in case of adult it is very, very low, at around 20 times decrease their concentration in case of the adult. overexpression of this protein can found into the pregnant woman. In case of pregnant woman, the overexpression up to the AFP will be there. We can measure it, or we can reduce the actual amounts of the AFP, or we can say these particular cells, particular tissues, it turn into the cancerous cells. A high level of the AFP in non-pregnant adult or observed into the certain type of to the cancer cell like liver, ovarian cancers are there. It is more than 500 microgram per ml. So we can utilize as a markers. The AFP we can utilize as a marker to diagnose the cancer cells. Another is the CEA, carcinoembryonic antigens. It is basically it is a glycoprotein with the molecular weight approximately 200 kilodaltons, discovered by Gold and Friedman in 1965. The monoclonal antibody CEA antibodies are used to diagnose the various cancer. CEA, carcinoembryonic antigens, is high in 60% in collateral carcinoma. If collateral carcinoma of the particular patient are there, we can measure is the carcinoembryonic antigen CEA with the help of to the monoclonal antibodies. So we can diagnose the collateral carcinoma. 80 to 100% in meta size or to the livers. If liver get damaged, their stage it should be metastasis. The level up to the CA it would be 80 to 100%. And bronchial carcinoma, breast carcinoma, number of the other cancer, the CAE would be very, very high. We can measure it, we can diagnose the particular tissues or cell get changed into the cancerous or not. Another thing I want to discuss the immune response to cancer. The immune system either has no role into the cancer or it does not control to the growth of the tumor cells. So basically in case of the tumor cells, several self-antigens are there. Self-antigens, they inhibit to the recognition of the immune system, activation of the immune systems are there. Although the process is poorly understood, very few mechanisms are proposed. The actively recognize and removing newly transformed cell is referred to the immunosurveillance. The immunosurveillance is a very important terms are there. They can recognize and removing newly transformed cells, or you can say newly cancerous cells. It will remove very well inside to the body. That is known as the immunosurveillance. It is present inside to the body. They can remove effectively from to the our body. So your cancerous cell, they will change it. They will damage through the apoptosis. They will remove through the apoptosis. The immunosurveillance is a very important terms are there. Immune response up to the tumor like CTL, NK cell, ADCC, antibody-dependent cytotoxic cells, activated macrophages, and antibodies response minor impact are involved. So these are the various mechanisms which are involved into the immune response, like cytotoxic lymphocytes, cytotoxic cells are there, CTL mechanisms are there, natural killer cells are there, antibody dependent cytotoxic T cells, activated macrophages. These are the various mechanisms which are involved against to the particular tumors or particular cancer cells are there. Experimental studies shows the mice lacking in fact T cell component or interferon gamma signaling pathway were more susceptible or chemically induced or transplanted tumors respectively. Likewise, recombination activation 2 RAG2 knockout mice which lack to the enzyme necessary required for to the somatic recombination, hence failed to generate T cell, B cell, NK cell that are more likely to develop cancer. Naturally, they are more susceptible to the chemical carcinoma. So these are the various animal models are there. The knockout mice are there. So in this case, you can see the mechanism. They are not able to generate T cell. They are not able to generate B cell. They are not have the NK cells are there, or ultimately in this case the cancer cell is spread very easily inside to the bodies. Another thing I want to discuss the immunological escape, how immunological escape will take place. It occurs when the host immune system is unable to respond to the tumor cell, the process known as the immunological response. So you can see it here is the normal cells are there, here is the transformed cells are there, here is the immune surveillance. Immune surveillance, they can destroy the transformed cells through the apoptosis, or various mechanisms are there. Another, it change into it go to the escape mechanism. Here is immunoeditings are there. So you can see it. Equilibrium is, it should be maintained inside to the body. Equilibrium is need to maintain the destruction of to the cancer cell and leaving up to the small number of the cell unharmed. During the final stage, immunoediting is most aggressive and least immunogenic up to the residual tumor cell begin to thrive and spread. So you can see it here is the escape mechanisms are there. It will change into the cancer cells. Tumor avoid immune recognition. There are the 5 mechanisms which are involved to avoid the immune recognitions. Your tumor cells, the immune system or immune cells, they are not recognized. First mechanism is low immunogenicity. No peptide MSC ligands will be there, and no adhesive molecules are there, and no co-stimulatory molecules will be there. So it shows the low immunogenicity of the tumor cells. Another is tumor treated as the self-antigens. Tumor antigen taken up presented by to the antigen presenting cell in the absence of co-stimulatory tolerized T cells. So it is another mechanism. They get tolerate against to the self antigens. So your immune system, they are not recognized to the tumor cells. Another is antigen modulations. The antibody against to the tumor cell surface antigen can induce the endocytosis and degradation of to the antigens. The immune selection of antigen loss the variants. So it is another mechanism to avoid the immune recognition, that is known as the antigenic modulation. There is some modulation in the particular antigens are there. Then your immune system, they are not able to recognize the particular cancer cell or tumor cells. And fourth one is the tumor-induced immune suppressions. The factors TGF-beta secreted to the tumor cell inhibit to the T cell directly, induce the regulatory T cell. So it is another mechanism, tumor-induced immune suppressions. And tumor-induced privileged site, the factors secreted by to the tumor cell secrete to the physical barrier and create a physical barrier to the immune system. So these are the 5 mechanisms are there. They are involved to avoid the recognition of the immune systems. Then immune response will be not take place. They will tolerate it, or ultimately your normal cell, your transformed cell, they get changed into the cancer cells. Another thing I want to discuss, that is known as the immunotherapy of the tumor cells. Immunotherapy, the various immunotherapy are there we can utilize to treat to the tumor cells or cancer cells. It is a type of to the therapy designed to the boost to the body natural defense to the fight against to the cancer. The use of the humanized monoclonal antibodies. So basically monoclonal antibodies, we can utilize it, or they are able to kill the particular tumor cells or particular cancerous cells are there. So basically monoclonal antibodies we can utilize to treat to the tumor cells. And similarly, peptide formed tumor antigens are administered inside to the body in a way up to induce the cytotoxic T lymphocyte activity. So basically, cytotoxic T lymphocyte activity will be increased, or ultimately they can kill the tumor cells. The limitation of this approaches is that no single type of immunotherapy be effective for all type of the cancer are there. So these are the limitation of this therapy are there. First one, we can utilize the monoclonal antibodies. Another is we can utilize the peptides form of the tumor antigens are administered in a way to induce the CTL, cytotoxic T lymphocyte activity. Ultimately, they are able to kill the tumor cells or cancer cells. There are the three immunotherapy are available: administered antibodies to the direct immune response against to the cancer cell. Here is name of the particular monoclonal antibody, that is known as the trastuzumab. It target to the HER2 proteins into the breast cancer. It is commercially under to the trade name Herceptin. So basically these are the monoclonal antibodies are there. You can inject inside to the body. They can remove the breast cancer. They can kill the breast cancer cells. In injecting with the antigenic peptides as therapeutic vaccine, it induced to the tumor cell a response, and several tumor has shown into induce up to the cytotoxic lymphocyte recognized to the tumor antigen present by to the MSC class first on these neoplastic cell. And manipulation or modulation signal responsible for to the stimulation or inhibition of T cell activation known as to the immune activation checkpoint. And another thing I want to discuss the nutrition and immunity. The balanced nutrition improve the general disease resistance of the individual. It means the balanced nutrition which are very important for to the body, they are able to maintain the immunity. The weak immunity in malnutrition children are more prone to communicable diseases. The deficiency of to the essential amino acid and balanced nutrition could result to the compromised immunity. It means immunity will not boost up if the balanced nutrition will be not there. The lifestyle disease such as obesity, diabetes, and problem of poor nutritional management will be there due to the unbalanced diet. The balanced nutrition induced to the micronutrient, macronutrient as well as the gut microbes will be there. Role of nutrition in the immune system. These are the very important things. It means you can improve, you can maintain the balanced nutrition inside to the body. Then your an activated immune system further increase to the demand for energy during to the period of to the infection. It need greater basal energy expenditure during fever and other immune response. These are the various micronutrients are there. We can utilize it. And the role up to the gut associated lymphocytosis, it should be maintained inside to the bodies. If you get proper nutrient, it will maintain, or they can maintain to the immune cell inside to the bodies. And there are to the prebiotic and probiotics, we can utilize it, or ultimately they are able to increase the immune response inside to the body. I want to summarize part second. The tumor cell display a specific or non-specific surface antigen, aiding early cancer diagnosis and the treatment. Dear learner, you have also learned to the immune system identify, remove tumor cell through the immunosurveillance, but can also play a role into the tumor formation and known as to the immunoeditings. In the balanced nutrition, improved disease resistance and malnutrition can lead to the lifestyle disease like obesity and diabetes. Dear learner, I hope you have learned the number of the things related to the tumor immunology and different type of the tumors are there. If you want to clarify each and everything, you can go through the IGNOU study learning materials and BZYCT 141. You can clarify each and everything with the help of the SLM of IGNOU. Thank you.
Today, we know that technology is changing the way in which we are leading our lives.